Someone's still playing our jam in the background. What's going on? It is Late Night Takes Live, Heavy Pour Sports. And we got the team, part of the team with us. Celine and AB got some things going on. Some heavy news in Vol Nation. I'll just open up the floor to T and Hammer, who know the individual, saw the information about the car accident, and then as it developed, some tragic news on guys that are a guy who covered Vol Nation. Hammer, I know you're talking about before the show, but just talk about him as a dude and his family, and thoughts and prayers to everything that's going on. Really sucks.
Yeah, anybody that's familiar with Tennessee, Vol Twitter, Tennessee athletics, Tennessee media know the name Wes Rucker. Wes wrote for the local paper, and then recently was brought on to WBIR Channel 10, would arguably be the top news station in Knoxville. Was involved in a fatal car accident this afternoon and was pronounced dead at the scene. Wes was a father. His son, Hank, just turned 4 in December. And we also found out that his wife was also pregnant with their second child. And I understand it was a little girl, or is a little girl. A lot of people kind of gave Wes a hard time sometimes about some of the things he put out there. And as we were talking offline, T spoke to it, that, he was polarizing. Like, he had some interesting takes on things, and I guess loved him or hated him, agreed, disagreed, whatever. Right now, none of that matters. Wes was a great father, a great husband. He was always telling stories about stuff with Hank, sharing pictures. We kind of watched Hank sort of grow up on social media. Just celebrated Valentine's Day with his wife. And really, man, the hardest part about this is just a few hours ago, he was tweeting about the U.S. women's hockey team winning gold. And then this happened, and it was senseless and sounds like it was completely avoidable based on the police report that the Knoxville Police Department put out. And just a horrible, tragic situation. I did a show a little bit ago, and I found out literally as I was getting on the show. Didn't want to believe it, and then a couple of my media friends in Knoxville confirmed it, and then it was announced. So sad day for all of Vol Nation, regardless of how you felt about Wes as a writer, a broadcaster, or a journalist. He was a great guy, and he's going to be missed. It's not going to be the same without him.
Yeah, when you hit me with the news about, I didn't know him personally, or really see his stuff that he put out there, but we're all parents here on the show, and when you mentioned him being a dad, with 4-year-old and then wife being pregnant, it's like that. That really sucks, and thoughts and prayers out to his family, including the wife and his kids, and I guess the one thing you can look back on is he's got a lot of work out there. I would assume being covering Tennessee, and you talk about him with a news affiliate, and hopefully one day his youngins can get back and see some of the work that he did, and appreciate his love for Tennessee sports, and appreciate his talent as a reporter or media guy, and get some solace in that. For a moment, he did what he loved, and maybe that passion can get pushed down to his children through the work that he did. Really tough news reading on it. Like I said, I saw the accident, and this didn't really. It was spreading like wildfire throughout Twitter, and didn't connect the two until T shot me a text. But I mean, it's a tough to roll into sports coverage, but like sports are in the real world, there's always something terrible, something bad. Even personally on our show, right? We got some folks dealing with matters, but we get on here and talk ball and hopefully just kind of pull everybody away from the reality for a little bit and laugh about the stress that 18 to 25-year-old kids or young men bring us on a weekly basis. But let's start off with I guess some good news for Tennessee is y'all play Oklahoma last night, and I know T texted me today, super excited about Nate Ament and his development. I saw the locker room coverage after the game. Rick Barnes thinks y'all are firing on all the right cylinders late into the season. How do y'all feel? It is Oklahoma, but it was an impressive win, and your two best players are playing well at the moment. Do you feel any better as we creep into the postseason or close to the postseason about what Tennessee can do in the SEC tournament, NCAA tournament, or do you still have some questions about long-term success?
So I feel better. I'm not prepared to say that I just feel good or anything, because one of the things is we're so reliant on Nate and Jacoby still. At the beginning of the season, it was just Jacoby, so it's nice to have Nate, and I think Nate has kind of taken over as the number one guy, which is cool. But I think even against Oklahoma, they accounted for like 50 or 55% of our shots. So as long as they're hitting, then it's all good. But we got to get some front court help. Everybody has kind of been going crazy because JP Estrella has been playing well. Hammer and I have been clamoring for JP Estrella to get playing time, and I think it was due to that injury that he sustained early on, trying to get him back. And like the last two games or whatever, he's been looking really good. And that's all well and good, but I need to see JP Estrella play well against somebody good. With all due respect, but like playing well against Oklahoma and playing well against Mississippi State doesn't move the needle for me from Estrella. I need to see him do it against Kentucky. And I wouldn't say he's like the reason that we lost, but if he can just make one layup in the game, then we win, right? So, or two layups in the game, then we win because we lost by 3. So I still would like to see a little bit more consistency from the front court, and I'd like to see them do it against a little bit stiffer competition. But Nate Ament has very clearly turned a corner, and so I do feel better. But, one bad game from him and Gillespie, and I think we're still toast, at least for now. That's kind of where I'm at. But we're certainly in a better position than we were the first half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the offense right now is running through Nate, and as long as he continues to play well, hit shots. He was 8 of 8 from the free throw line. So that's fantastic to see. We only had 5 turnovers, which was considerable improvement versus 22 assists. Also shot 18 of 25 as a team from the free throw line. So some of the things that T and I have been kind of harping on all season, well, it got better yesterday, right? But it also got better against a 500 team at home. Nate had 29, Jacoby 16. It was great to see Felix have a really good game with 18 points, had 2 blocks, got 7 rebounds. But we got to have that front court. I mean, I know when it comes tournament time, we know it's guard driven, right? The guards typically are what determine who's cutting down the nets versus who's not. And quite frankly, we've got one guard that can be a difference maker. No offense to Boswell and Berg and Evans, but Jacoby played 36 minutes last night. So we're one Jacoby off night or Nate off night away from going home. So we've just got to see more consistency from T. Nailed it. We had such an advantage coming into the season with our front court, with Akpara, with Estrella. Of course, Cade got hurt. Brown's been nice. Carey has had flashes, had a rough game last night. But we've got to put together a full 40 minutes of basketball, not 25 minutes of basketball, and then let the wheels fall off, like we've done twice with Kentucky, and just let Alabama run all over us. I mean, there's been some, not Alabama, I'm sorry, Kansas just run all over us. So that win over Texas Tech early in the season, that looks great right now. The win over Illinois, very
Houston.
nice. Houston, I'm sorry. Thank you. So those are great, but we've got to be consistent down that stretch with the things we've talked about: turnover to assist ratio, being able to hit free throws. Front court's got to dominate, get rebounds, and second chance points. And we miss more shots from 2 feet or less from the rim than any team I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how you
click over and watch
that.
your Kentucky game. And in these last 2, I think we might be able to rival you in blown layups and contested shots at the rim.
I did see some of that, and I felt your pain because it has been just absolutely frustrating to no end that we can't put the ball in the hoop with 7-footers. We got basically 3 7-footers on the floor, and we can't put the ball in the hoop from 2 feet away. It's absurd. So,
well, big test coming up on Saturday. It's an 11 a.m. game for me. So, that's a 2 p.m. tip East Coast time because it's I think is Vandy over in Central Time. Is that right? It's a kind of a weird time. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a big test. Their home gym. They're playing. They've had some down games, but still a top 20 team. And you go on the road, and I know Hammers feels a certain way about old Peabody University, but you get a win on the road against Vandy, and now I think you really can start building some momentum because I think you got Alabama here very soon too, right? You're going to face them again?
Yeah, we got them on the 28th, so the last day of the month.
Is that home or away?
That's home because we played them with Charles, what's his face?
Oh, that's right.
In Bama.
Idiaco.
Yeah.
So it's Tennessee at Vandy, Tennessee at Mizzou, and then you got a home close for the month against Bama.
Yeah, I was listening to something on the animal, and I'm mad at myself because I forgot what place. But for like that double bye or whatever in the SEC tournament, somehow Tennessee still can control its own destiny. So we got Vandy twice. We did what we were supposed to do from once they talked about this. We did what we were supposed to do against Oklahoma. We got Vandy twice, Bama and Mizzou. So you have to beat Mizzou, maybe split with Vandy, and then beat Bama, or some Frankenstein version of that. And then I think we're one of those double bye seeds in the SEC tournament, which would be nice.
I think we should just win them all and be done with it.
I'm that's how you control your own destiny, right? When you win the games. And Hammer touched on it, and he and I have been lamenting this all season as well because Jacoby Gillespie played 36 minutes. I don't think the minutes are as taxing as they were because at the beginning of the year he was the entire offense, and now he's the number 2 option. So and Barnes is trying to sub him out a little more, or at least play him off the ball a little more, which is cool. But he's still playing a lot of minutes, and so a double bye would be nice, for a little bit of rest, recovery, rehab, just kind of get right. I think it would do Gillespie in particular a ton of good because Barnes trying to run the tires off that young man.
Yeah, and let me just clarify something because I'm a little outside of my head right now. I apologize. The win over Houston and Louisville looked good. We gave the game away to Kansas, Syracuse, and just got run roughshod over by Illinois. I just want to clarify that because I know everybody's going to be like, "You idiot!" Yeah, I know. I messed it up. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that Houston win early in the season, I think that was at one of those not preseason tournaments, but one of those like early season tournaments, right?
It was. Yeah, that was the same Kansas as well because we beat Houston and come out and just get we flat against Kansas.
That was a game where you looked like you could be the dominant team in the SEC because you knew Houston was going to be a Final Four contender or at least be in the conversation with the way they play. There's been some duds, but I can't talk any junk because Kentucky is the absolute king right now in college basketball for impressive wins, either come behind last minute, pretty much dominate the entire game against Arkansas at Arkansas, and then have a respectable performance on the road against Florida, and then do what they did against Georgia. And I guess that's the best segue into BBN talk. So both y'all were hitting on Gillespie's 36 minutes a game. So throughout the month of January, or most of January into February, especially after Cam Williams' injury, that's what we've been seeing from Otega Oweh. 35, 38 minutes a game. And he's had some good games. He's starting to look like a SEC Player of the Year finalist. But unfortunately, there's moments at the end of the game where you could see the gas tank is empty. And you guys have seen that with Gillespie, right? Poor decisions. At the end of the Georgia game, as terrible as we played, we had a chance to get it within one with just under a minute left. Pope gets in the ball out of a baseline out of bounds play. Otega gets going downhill exactly like you want him to because that's where he's best, and he dribbles it off his foot. Colin Chandler had two opportunities for either tying or go-ahead threes with just about a minute and a half left, and after going 6 of 7, goes 6 of 9 because both of them were short because he played, I think, 34 minutes throughout the game. So while they're not the same position, we Kentucky fans are seeing the same things to where if Colin Chandler and Otega Oweh aren't getting a bunch of minutes and aren't the two best players on the court at any given night, we're going to struggle and try to fight and claw for wins. And even when they are the best players on the court, we're still looking to fight and claw for wins because we aren't consistently putting together good basketball games for 40 minutes, like good team effort. And it's just not a fun brand of basketball to watch. So those two things together make it super difficult to for some of Kentucky fans to really stay behind this team and stay behind Coach Pope. I wish Selena was on because I think we would have had a decent battle tonight about how she feels. I know she feels strongly about the hot hand and leaving folks in and playing them the minutes they need to play. I'm more of the mindset where Otega Oweh getting 30 minutes a game and forcing Jasper Johnson in the lineup, even though he has hurt us more often than not. We aren't going to do anything in the postseason unless Jasper Johnson's given us 10 to 15 quality minutes anyways. So you might as well throw him in there now and let him figure it out and get some experience and see if something clicks, right? Because he's not a true point guard. He's more off the ball guy, but like Denzel Aberdeen, he's going to be forced to play that point guard role for most of the time he's in the game. So I think we got to find a way to make Colin Chandler and Otega Oweh's minutes, while they decrease, just more efficient. And he's still getting 18 to 20 points a game, but on 30 minutes and not 38 minutes. And when we do need to close one out, he's in the game, Colin's in the game, and they're fresh.
Well, it's either that or, like you said, you gotta find a way to make him more efficient, and that's kind of what I was saying with Barnes and Gillespie. So Gillespie's averaging 33 minutes a game, but the first half to 2/3 of the season, like those were a really taxing 33 minutes, right? Because he was having to score 25 points, he was having to get 8 assists. He was having to play hard-nosed defense, and any other points that were coming with him not scoring, he was having to facilitate. So now, even though he played 36 minutes, at least some of those minutes are just, here, let me give the ball to Nate Ament, and then I can just, stand there and rest and recover a little bit. So even if Owe and Chandler are going to be out there, if somebody else can pick up the slack offensively, that helps them out, because all minutes are not created equal, right? Like if you're playing really, really hard on-ball defense, or you're trying every possession down the court to create for your teammates, that's super taxing, right? And we've seen the difference, let's say like in LeBron, from when he left Miami to when he went back to Cleveland. That's when that return to Cleveland, that's when he started taking on-court rest. So like as a coach, if we're going to have to run these guys with crazy minutes, you got to find a way to get them like that on-court rest. But that requires, some other fellas on the team to step up.
And Ortega's minutes, are compounded too, because he's our best on-ball defender. So not only is he expected to be our leading scorer every game, he's got to go guard the best dude on the court, right? And he's got one hell of a gas tank. Like I gotta say, when he's in the game, there's times where you can see he's mentally taxed, and he unfortunately, when he's got the ball in his hands, he still looks fresh. Again, didn't close the game out well. He bounced it off his shoe. Like that sucks. It's gonna happen. Whatever. He can get down to the rim, but he's not known to be like the best ball handler on the court. But where he sometimes takes his breaks is on defense, and that's what's so frustrating. Is like you get to ball watching, you're tired, you get a switch, and now someone else is guarding the ball, and you're just out there kind of just we take one breath, and now you got Georgia who shoots like 30% from three, gets a wide open three, and they shot like in the high 40% mark, and they leave Rupp with the win. The Georgia game was one of the more frustrating games I've watched. Vandy was frustrating, getting blown out by Vandy, but that one you knew of like it was over early. You were just going to see what kind of fight we had, and maybe Pope try to figure out some lineups. But a loss at Rupp Arena to Georgia, even more frustrating than watching us lose to UNC after not being able to score for 10 minutes, like 10 game minutes, to lose that game. Because while we got super impressive performances from Ortega, drops 28 on 11 of 18 shooting. We get a 6 of 9 3-point performance from Colin Chandler, who's continuously growing offensive side of the ball. He's by far our best shooter, our best clutch shooter, and he's growing as a defender too. Like he's not an absolute liability on defense. He's actually stepping up there and starting to be serviceable on both sides of the court. But you have a game where you have almost 15 turnovers. You shoot 60% from the free throw line, and while the offense looked better and we were making shots at a higher level than we had been any, most other games, especially Ortega Owe, 3 of 5 from 3, other dudes making shots, you absolutely regress on the defensive end. Like you gave it to Georgia the ability to drop, 85, 86 on you, and again, shoot the best they have all year because they were getting wide open shots. And when you allow a team at this level to see the ball go in early, it doesn't matter how bad they sucked all year. They build some confidence, that bucket gets bigger, and then they're able to hang with you at Rupp. And as soon as you give them some confidence in our building, and we've seen it, yeah, exactly, free throws, like that killed it, 60% from the line. It can't happen. But when you give anybody momentum in our building, the one unfortunate thing about Rupp Arena is it gets quiet really fast and it stays quiet, right? We go on a run, it starts getting loud, we start putting pressure on them. That's what happened within the last 5 minutes of the game. But for 60, 70% of that ball game, at least from where I'm sitting watching on TV, that place is silent, right? There's no hey, we're just going to stay loud and try to rattle the team like you would get in the fog, right? For Kansas, that place is just losing its mind all the time, or Cameron Indoor, to where, that's my one thing about Rupp Arena. So the home court advantage disappears very quickly once a team gets out in front of us, and it takes some time to rebuild that. So this team's got to realize, and Pope has to get better at fast starts and sustained effort in the first opening 10 minutes, because we got out to an 8-point lead and then subs happen, and now they go on a run, the building gets quiet, and we're struggling to figure it out for the rest of the game, like has been pretty common this year. I want to talk about Pope. What are your thoughts out on the outside looking in, right? So my Twitter was back and forth for the last 48 hours of, just with me saying, hey, chill on the Fire Pope stuff. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. Either as I want your opinion, either as a troll of like you used to, extend Mark Stoops, or, legit thoughts about Pope. No excuses, but there are injury things. We're not even into the postseason yet. So, like, why are we judging final results when we don't have a final result? What are your thoughts on Pope as someone who's got a tenured coach and Rick Barnes leading your squad?
Go ahead, Hammer.
I think people just need to calm down. I mean, I'm sorry, even at this point in the season, it is absolutely ridiculous to go on the witch hunt with the pitchforks and the torches and call for a coach's head because you lost a damn game. Like, get a grip, man. It is a long season. Unless your team is Miami of Ohio, you have lost a game this year. We've got to stop measuring this ridiculous expectation of undefeated national championship or fire everybody. That's ridiculous, man. Even for a program like Kentucky. I mean, Randall, I'm not kicking dirt at you, okay? But you guys haven't won a championship since 14. Haven't made a Final Four. And that's something that you guys are used to, right? Like, I get it. I understand if I'm one of these true blue blood programs, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, UCLA. Well, I mean, I get it, man. I understand. But you can't just go firing coaches because you'll never build anything. You might catch lightning in a bottle and win one here or there doing that, but calling for a coach is, I mean, there were Kentucky people calling for Pope's job 2-3 weeks into the season, man. It's stupid. Stop it. It's nonsense. Give this guy a chance. And if he keeps losing, I'll start hashtag extend Mark Pope. Believe me, I'll be the first one on there doing it. But let's just be real. Chill out, man. Y'all got to stop. It's crazy. I'm all decked out, right? It's crazy to me that y'all are doing this. Stop it.
And the other thing, just like with Tennessee fans and Fire Heupel and all that stuff that ignore the economics of it, there's a buyout to pay and all that. But then my other question is always, well, then who are you replacing them with? Like,
exactly.
Everybody just thinks like firing is the magic remedy, but you got to have an upgrade. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. We do it in football, but like who? For who? I don't want to fire Heupel because I don't know that there's an upgrade out there. So,
and those people are idiots too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
gosh, man, it's crazy. What do y'all think? Like, seriously, T, 100%. If you fired Mark Pope at the end of the season, or you fired him tomorrow, or you fired him in May, who are you going to go get?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's there's always going to be parts of the fan base, and there's going to be connections out there. We'll throw out Billy Donovan again. When we let Cal go, or when he walked to Arkansas, however you want to look at it. There was the $11 million a year offer out there at Dan Hurley, which he declined. There was the Baylor head coach. Help me out.
Scott Drew.
Scott Drew, thank you. Who flew out to Lexington and saw the craziness that was happening. And his wife was like, zero chance we're moving out here and dealing with these people. Again, if you believe the reports that it was, hey, Billy Donovan was interested, or at least was willing to sit down. He just said, wait to the end of the NBA season because they potentially had a chance to make the playoffs. Mitch Barnhart doesn't do that, and he goes and hires Mark Pope. There's a contingent of the fan base that would go and clamor for Dusty May. There's a part of the fan base that would go, say, TJO out there at Iowa State, which would probably be my top guy if Pope left. But here's my thoughts on Pope. I don't disagree with the BBNers out there, because I'm one of them who in the moment are like, you cannot lose these ball games in Rupp Arena. Like, one thing Cal was pretty good at until the very end of his tenure was protecting home court, right? We were going to win in our building. But there was also a different SEC when it was the beginning of Cal's career. And I think a lot of people forget that. There were maybe one or two ball clubs that could compete in the SEC at any given year, right? They were consistent programs. Kentucky, especially under Cal, was one of them from 2009. And the SEC really didn't start ramping up as one of the premier college basketball conferences until after COVID, and really, where we started the birth of NIL and these big SEC schools could start paying for lineups and decent rosters. And there was coaching upgrades. Nate Oates comes, Todd Golden. There's a lot of buy-in from the SEC to build up basketball. So the dynamic of SEC basketball, the landscape has changed over the last half decade. But that being said, I still agree with the fans. Like, I'm one of them. We are Kentucky. Allegedly spent $20+ million on this roster. I understand your starting point guard's out. Cam Williams, who has the best plus minus on the team and was Pope's number one portal get, and the dude who's maybe collecting the biggest check in JQ aren't playing. But at the end of the day, you got to win these ball games in Rupp Arena. And you certainly can't get blown out in Rupp Arena or lose to a bottom tier team who lost 5 of 6 and cubbed a Rupp Arena. I know they're hungry, but you got to win these games. I 100% agree and understand the frustration. And I am okay with the criticism of a game, the coach in the moment, the player in the moment. That's deserved. But after every loss, like you said, to come out and be like, this dude ain't it. He needs to be fired right away. Mitch Barnhart failed. Pope failed. It's like, hold up. One, a loss right now doesn't end your season, right? It's frustrating. It pisses you off, but it doesn't end your season. You got an ability to go bounce back on Saturday against Auburn, which that loss against Georgia at home actually gives me more hope, because that's what Pope does is we lose, and then that's when he gets the team fired up, and we'll go to Auburn and we'll win that game. But yeah, the whole after the game, the fan base, or the loud parts of the fan base that have some sort of audience who, talk about Pope has to get fired, he can't do the job, I think is ridiculous. One, because again, Cal's second season, he lost 9 games and got to the Final Four. Right. There's been times where we were an 8 seed and the team clicked 2014 and he gets to the championship game. So like, now Cal got some love and extra leeway because he had been to a Final Four before. Like he took D Rose in Memphis, and we at least knew he got there. Pope doesn't have the same resume, But really, it should have been the same for Cal. Like, what have you done for me lately, right? And the expectation is Final Four, get to national championship games, hang banners. So let's at least let the season run out. Now, do I expect us to make some crazy run and get to the Final Four? No. But if we get it figured out and we somehow add back to the roster Cam Williams, who is slowly progressing with his foot injury, and maybe he could, maybe something crazy happens. But until then, let's pump the brakes on the whole fire Pope thing, because the fan base that also is saying there's no hope for next season because we don't have any recruits and whatnot. One, don't forget that when Cal was here the last 5 years, you hated the fact that he was bringing in new freshmen every single year because they weren't winning in the postseason, right? Those dudes would do great in the regular season and then not be able to sustain it in the postseason, and we would get bounced in the first weekend. So don't change your narrative now saying, I want young stud freshmen instead of portal guys, which is where Pope thrives. And two, if you want these dudes, everything's on social media now. Otega Oweh was literally interviewed on this Paramount Plus feature, and he was talking about how he sees all the dumb social media stuff about how he's creating fights in the locker room and messing around with other teammates' girlfriends. He's saying that in the documentary. So you don't think these other kids are on social media looking at the fan base going, ain't no way in hell I'm coming there, right? So we're negative recruiting against ourselves by doing this, right? And why would they want to come to a school where maybe the fan base gets loud and there's some pressure where the coach goes, and now I'm good. So it's there's too much going on when you talk this nonsense. Let's just, like you said, let's cut it out, be frustrated, but we don't panic. Nothing ever good comes from panic and drama. So absolutely be like, Pope, that was a failed game, failed experiment, failed coaching job by you. Players outside of Otega Oweh and Colin Chandler, you have to be ready and prepared for every single game we play in this league, and you got to protect our building and then move on. Let's get on to Saturday, right? Hold on to that frustration for 24 hours, but let's not for, the next 4 days try to speculate on who our next coach is going to be because Pope can't figure it out. That was a long rant, but that's just kind of how I feel about the whole situation. Why don't we close with a little bit of game analysis? How do you feel about Vandy on Saturday?
I'm gonna defer to Hammer since Peabody is his favorite university to discuss.
I hate them.
I haven't watched them at all, so I don't know anything about them this year, honestly. They have kind of started the Twitter banter about Carey because as you know, Carey is a transfer from Vandy, talking about how they upgraded without him and all this, and I'm just like, well, if you're so much better off without him, then there's really not anything to discuss. I wouldn't trip if somebody left and they didn't make any impact. Kind of like with I used to tell you when Nico was leaving, I didn't want to see him leave, but he didn't produce enough on the field for me to lose my marbles about it. So I think Vandy does actually feel some type of way about losing Carey. So I'd love to see a Carey shut him up game. That'd be dope. But I don't know enough about Vandy to know what to expect. But you're right, Joshy boy, go Big Orange. And saw your comment about Wes. You're right. Hammer touched on it at the beginning of the show. Definitely thoughts and prayers for his family. But yeah, it'd be cool to see a good front court game, particularly from Carey against his old school, and let him stay on the heater that he's on. But I don't really have an analysis for you. That's just what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Well, I had Hunter Sampson on Sunday, and we kind of ran through some basketball stuff and tournament stuff. Somebody had asked, is Kentucky a lock for the tournament? Yeah. I mean, probably right now I think they're probably sitting on a 6 or 7 line for seeding, but I don't see Kentucky not – I mean, a lot of would have to happen bad for Kentucky to not make the tournament. But
there's a portion of the fan base. I won't say big portion. There's a portion of the fan base who's out there saying we're not going to win another SEC game. Like we're losing the rest of them. That's how dramatic it's gotten.
That's insane. You people need to you need to find somebody that loves you enough to take your damn phone away from you when you have thoughts like that. I'll hope that you can find somebody. Maybe reach out to a Louisville fan or something, and they'll show some pity.
Hey, they're in it too. I wish I needed AB on the show to help me out because I'm in a group chat, the Governor's Cup, and it's Louisville, Kentucky fans, and it's actually pretty cordial. Of course, we aren't playing each other at the moment, so that's probably why. But there's a lot of Louisville fans out there. Like PK hasn't won a big game ever. He can win the games he's supposed to, which unfortunately Pope has shown that he doesn't. But at least Pope's wins big games. See, look, this is what I'm talking about. This and Chainsaw fan, he goes back and forth with me on Twitter. He's least cordial. He's not these guys who only can talk on Twitter by using F-bombs and terrible language and stupid comments. But that's how we feel. Like, are we even going to beat South Carolina? It's like, come on, guys. Yeah.
He's saying who are y'all going to beat besides South Carolina? Is what he's saying.
He said, yeah, who you beat? But he didn't even think we're going to beat South Carolina. We're going to Chainsaw. Clip this if you want to, or come at me on Saturday. We're going to win that ball game, Saturday. That's just what this team does. It baffles my mind. But we'll go, and not saying Auburn's. I don't even know if they're a quad one win. It's at home, so it's at their building, so potentially. But they've had some big wins. They've had some tough losses. The one that got pulled from them at the buzzer. But I truly believe after that, if we would have barely escaped Georgia and got a win, I think we go to Auburn and we lose because it's just we barely escaped, and we're not going to really have anything to fight for because we are expected to lose this game. I think now the team goes to Auburn and we win. I truly believe that now. But sorry, Hammer, I interrupted you on your Vandy analysis.
No, it's okay. There's what I refer to as the Ken Palm formula, okay? And that is honest, legit numbers. The only exception to this in the last 25 years is UConn that haven't been ranked in the top 30 offensively and the top 20 defensively in Ken Palm. Every national champion except UConn fits this criteria. Here's the list of teams: Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Houston, Florida, Iowa State, Purdue, UConn, Gonzaga, and yes, Peabody. They are 14th in adjusted offensive efficiency. They are 19th in adjusted defensive efficiency. So by definition of what does a legitimate national contender look like, Peabody fits the bill. Now, the eye test tells us something completely different, right? They're 7-3 in quad one. They have 8 Q3, Q4 wins, which is actually one of the fewer of that list I just mentioned. That's one of the fewer numbers on there. So on paper, Vanderbilt's a legitimate contender for a national championship run, a deep tournament run. We always have trouble playing at Memorial because it's the worst.
I hate that gym.
Collegiate basketball arena on the planet. The stupid end thing is ridiculous. The raised floor is I thought you people out there were smart. You couldn't even hire somebody, a good architect or a better engineer, to build that dump heap of a building. So we always have trouble there, and it's difficult coaching because you're coaching from the end of the floor. So, I think it's going to be a little bit of an emotional thing with Kerry. There was a little bit of bad blood there when he left. And I hate to say it, but Byington's a pretty good coach. He kind of had a pretty quick impact on that team, and we've just not played well. there. So I think it's going to be pretty physical. I think Tennessee is going to have to muck it up to maybe slow them down a little bit. Their adjusted tempo is 54th in the country. They like to play fast. So we've got to make it our game. We've got to turn it into a rock fight. We've got to dominate on the boards. We cannot turn the ball over. We have to hit free throws, and we have to hope that Doug Shows is not the official. So all that said, Tennessee's a 3.5-point dog in this game. I think it's going to come down to – this probably could come down to a one-possession game. So coin flip for me. I think it's a pick 'em. I just have to – based on our history playing there, I can't sit here and confidently tell you that I think Tennessee's going to win that game. We will beat them in Knoxville no matter what happens Saturday.
I'm seeing Joshy boys getting on Carey a little bit. I don't know, man. Nothing jumps out as soft to me about Carey. I see him go through dude. I see him go through dude's chest at least once a game. But the scared to go up to the basket, I think that's maybe something worth considering because Carey is a below the rim guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously he can dunk and all that, but he's a below the rim player. And I think unless he's able to directly go through a dude's chest, I think he's pretty cognizant of the fact that he is being guarded by above the rim guys. And that may make him a little bit hesitant to go up sometimes.
Yeah, he's a little bit undersized for power forward.
Yeah,
he's a load, but he's only 6'8".
Right. So he's short and he's not uber athletic. So he's smart enough to know, like, if I can go through your chest, then I can use my size, my girth to my advantage. But if he's not able to go right through someone's chest and knock them off the block, then he's got to be cognizant of dudes who might be flying in and out all over the place, swatting his stuff. So that might be his concern. But I don't think he's soft though. I think he brings an element of toughness that we would be pretty sorely lacking without him.
Yeah. Josh, the line is 3.5 in favor of Vanderbilt, and there should be an over-under on technical fouls in this game. I will blind bet the over because I think there's going to be some tempers flare. Peabody sucks. In case I didn't mention that.
Vandy just they have also been one of the weird teams where they've had some great wins, and like you said they lost at home to Oklahoma, right? So it's like, yeah, those are tough. Of course, I can't talk any trash because we do at home against Georgia, but
honestly, Rando, though, any team right now other than Florida can't throw any dirt at anybody.
That's right. Because
we have all laid some real stinkers this season. So
yeah. Well, and as much as of course these games were at home for them, but they took y'all to overtime, right? That was the single overtime game or double overtime game against Georgia.
We went into overtime.
I thought so, or at least it was close. And then they beat Arkansas at home. Maybe I'm completely tripping, but I thought they played you all to overtime, or maybe it was a last second close win for Tennessee.
No, you were right. I'm tripping. Yeah, we won 86-85 in overtime.
It did go to overtime. Yeah, yep. I was thinking the Texas A&M game, and I couldn't get any other game in my mind other than A&M. Yes, sorry, you're right, Rando.
Yeah, because the double overtime game was the week y'all played us, and I thought that was the advantage that we were going to lose because we were playing the late game, if I remember all that correctly. But so like Georgia's had some close games and they've had some big wins. Again, they do the same thing we did and beat Arkansas. They did it in their building though, so that's a great point. Some perspective is like everybody in the SEC has kind of have a letdown game or had a surprising game. A team has stepped up. And it just goes to the parity of the league now. I do think, though, you guys will bring a physicality that seems to be the thing that affects Vandy. We did not bring it at all. We let them play fast and run over us. I don't think you allow them to play with enough pace to beat you. And I do think it's a game where your front court can dominate. Their guards are really good. That sophomore point guard is a stud, and he's really stepped his game up. I think he was a 4 point per game average scorer last year, and now he's well in double digits. But
I don't think they're very big. I don't think they have a lot of length in the front court, and so that's why I say Tennessee has to absolutely dominate on the boards in the paint, and just mud it up, because they're going to want to run. They're going to play fast with tempo, and we have to dictate the pace. We cannot allow them to do that. Peabody sucks.
I do believe this is I don't know about JP Estrella. I was actually big on him coming into the season as well. Thought he was could be a difference maker. But I do think this is an Okpara and Native game for sure. I think they do very well. Native able to get to his spot. This team's not going to push him around, and Okpara is going to live under the rim. I don't know what the over-under is lob play for from Gillespie to Okpara, but 2.5, maybe 3.5. I'd take the over. Because I think they just do that high-low, or even the high-low pick-and-roll game. Whatever you guys do to try to work it in the paint, Rick Barnes is going to exploit that. So I do think you all win, and I think it's a lower-scoring game. Don't allow Peabody to shoot as well. All right, so we got, like I said, we got Auburn. They are 14-12. I think they got a losing record in the SEC. Yeah, 5-8 in the SEC.
5-8. Yep.
But they got Terod Pettiford, and they got this kid Hall who can score, and that building is tough to play in. And even though they have struggled this year, I think this is going to be a game that they pack out. It's on a Saturday night, and it's against Kentucky, right? So we're gonna be up against it with the crowd and the War Damn Eagle and all the things that they do there at Auburn. I think this is a game that we reestablish some physicality, because we're going to have to. I think this is a game that we see Denzel finally wake up from his 2-game slump, and I think this is a game where our ability to not play through our bigs gets fixed, right? And I think that's going to happen, because it has to happen. Pope has to figure it out, because we have to play inside out. If we're playing, which we do a lot, with our 5 at the top of the key, free throw line extended, and run our offense that way, it's successful if Moreno plays big and doesn't get pushed around off his spot. And lately, they're not calling the same sort of reach over, push, grab fouls that they did before. And Moreno's expecting it to happen. You could see him kind of looking around in the game instead of just kind of playing through that context. Like, you're not getting the call, so you can't expect it. You have to play through it. Which is why I like Mo Diabate out there, because he just plays through it, and he gets to the free throw line because he's not stopping when the contact happens. He's playing through the contact. But we have to be able to get Moreno the ball in the paint. Same with Mo Diabate in the paint. Yelovich in the paint. Let him hit the paint first, these bigs, and then push the ball out and get some shots that way, instead of ball movement completely extended above the 3-point line. And hoping we can generate some shots, or a guy can beat someone off the dribble and get to the rim that way. The most frustrating thing about the Georgia game was watching Malachi Moreno have Smurf, whatever his last name was. Like, the dude's name is Smurf, so you can imagine what he looks like. This dude is 5'0". They were switching everything. He would get put on Malachi Moreno. Malachi Moreno is posted above, and no one's even looking to get an entry pass into the paint, right? So I think that gets overcorrected this time, and we feed the paint heavy. And, our bigs kind of establish the physicality, and then it allows Zell and Otega and Colin, and maybe even, a surprise effort from Jasper Johnson, where he kind of wakes up a little bit. and can give us some quality minutes. If I have one request from Pope, I think this is a game where when Moreno either unfortunately has gotten into some foul trouble early in games, just freshman type fouls, or his motor isn't quite as developed yet, his cardio isn't as developed, so he can't sustain the same sort of minutes that our other key players like Otega-Owe and Colin Chandler do. When Moreno comes out and BG comes in, that is an automatic run for the other team. So we saw it to close at LSU. We saw it with the game, the first game against Tennessee. When we put Mo Diabate at the 5 and Yelovich at the 4, the Mo Jelly lineup, we are both good defensively and good offensively. And I know people attack me because Mo Diabate can't score, but if we're not asking him to play the 4 spot and stretch the floor and he's parked under the rim, one thing he will do is play with effort and go get a rebound, and he can score under the basket. He's very much like Carey. He's not playing above the rim. He ain't going to give you a dunk. It's all going to be, layups around the rim, which goes back to why we're missing show me shots at the rim, because we don't have someone who can just go live above the rim consistently and play through contact. But at least it allows Yelovich to play the floor, stretch it out, and then we have another 3-guard lineup out there that will move the ball, can try to break somebody down. Because when BG comes in the game, he's not necessarily giving you physicality or the ability to out-rebound the other team. Go back to Florida. We were even with them in the rebound margin. Moreno got in foul trouble. BG had to play like 10 minutes second half. Instantly, we are down 10 in the rebound margin, right? So, you have to be able to find a way to play different lineup when Moreno's out there, because BG just ain't it, unfortunately. So let me see some Mo Diabate at the 5 and a stretch 4. I think we can be successful with that. And also, just please, God, shoot above 60% from the free throw line. That is all I'm asking. All I'm asking is for our dudes to shoot like 70% from the free throw line. I don't think that's too much to ask. Okay. The way our not having a point guard, I think we're going to live in the 12 to 15 turnover range, where if we can get 10 assists a game, that's pretty much all I can ask for. But golly, you can make free throws. You can get to the line, especially our guards can get to the free throw line and make free throws, especially at the end of the game when they're 1-on-1 situations and you got to have them. That potentially is too much to ask. I don't think it is. Hit your free throws and play through the bigs, and let me see a small ball lineup. And I'm going to say we do what no one thinks we can do and go beat Auburn. And as Jackson said on the random recap, let's start our 3rd season, because we gotta keep starting fresh.
Yeah, if you guys can hit free throws and get second chance points, Auburn's defense is pretty bad. It's outside the top 100.
They're allowing 80 points a game.
Yeah. So you definitely can score on this team. You just have to not beat yourself with the turnovers, the easy points at the free throw line. And, you do have the issue with, the point guard and assists and things like that. So I think, again, kind of similar to what we talked about with Tennessee, if you can control the boards, especially the offensive glass, get those second chance points, that can go a long way towards, putting this team away. And quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of Baby Pearl. I'll just be honest. So I wouldn't be terribly upset if y'all won that game.
No, and the other thing that I brought up in the random recap after the Georgia game, especially after the Georgia game, dudes like Otega-Owe and Colin Chandler, who were on the team last year, and Terod Pettiford and those other bums are out there doing the belt the ass thing in our gym, super loud in front of our fans. Y'all cannot forget that. You better go back and get your get back, because Otega-Owe, these dudes, they talk some trash, the end of the game against Tennessee, back and forth. I think he does that stuff more in silence. I don't see him going out there and mimicking that motion and doing the same thing to the fan base. But that's okay. I don't need to see it the outward. I need them to feel emotionally. and I need them just to go in there and drop a 10, 15-point win on them just to be like, hey, we didn't forget what y'all did in our building last year. And again, when Baby Pearl is the coach, yeah, we're going to smack that ass around. That is my hope.
Isn't this like his 9th year or something stupid like that?
No,
I think he's a junior.
I thought he was a true sophomore. Okay, so none of us know.
Yeah. Well,
like
I got it up right here.
Sophomore. I swear that dude's been in college forever.
He's a sophomore.
I thought he was a true sophomore.
Yeah, he's averaging 15 a game, 3 assists. It's actually, I was just talking about our inability to create assists, which we don't. But this is one of the few teams we will play this season that averages less assists than we do. And I didn't realize, again, they have had some wins or some close games, but I did not realize they have lost their last 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
They played a brutal schedule, though. In fairness, they have played an incredibly difficult schedule.
Yeah, I mean the last 5. The only game that you would say you expect them to win this season was at Mississippi State, at Arkansas, versus Vandy, at home against Bama, which was a close game. They almost pulled that one off. Bama had to hit a shot late, and then y'all smacked them in Knoxville.
Auburn has the number 1 strength of schedule rating according to Ken Palm, just to give you an idea.
And I do believe Kentucky's in the top 10 for strength of schedule.
Number 9.
So again, something to consider as we get into tournament play and why fans maybe pump the brakes, right?
Please pump the brakes, yeah.
But
I see on my nerves, and I don't even care.
I just and you know what it was. So I'll ask you. I don't know if you saw the back and forth. The tweet said, I just was like, hey, when we went 8 of 9 and we beat Arkansas, swept Tennessee, and the Fire Pope crowd got super, super quiet, right?
Yeah.
And then we lose at Florida, and they start getting whispers. Yeah, that was a close game, but they start coming out, and then we lose to Georgia, and boom, it's full on, like punch you in the mouth. All right, here we go. I told you Pope couldn't do the job, and I'm like, well, why don't we keep that same narrative after a win, right? I get frustrated after a loss, but then also say I think Pope's the right guy, and it sounds ridiculous, but if you truly don't think Pope is the right dude, you should be like, hey, that was a great win against Tennessee. Still think Pope should get fired. Right? It sounds crazy, but if you truly believe what you're saying after every loss, then let's keep that same narrative throughout.
Yeah, because it's the same people screaming "Fire Pope" when they lose, talking about the deep tournament run and all this other crap when you win.
Yeah,
stay consistent.
Or atting Tennessee fans with the broom and stuff like that. No, hold on. You were just talking about how trash Pope is. Don't praise him now.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and be like, oh, our guy's better than your guy. Be like, hey,
just be consistent.
Win. Yeah,
consistently quiet would be ideal, but just be consistent.
You're right. Randall sees everything through those blue tinted glasses. He can't help.
Here's that was a past tense. Beginning of season, I was locked. I know it was an exhibition game, and I know it's dumb, especially now because of history. When we beat Purdue, there was no doubt in my mind we were hanging banner 9. There was 0 doubt in my mind.
We know. We were here.
We were here.
What was it with you in 9? It was 9-win football season. It was banner number 9 in basketball. You're probably going to finish 9th in the SEC in baseball. So, Morehead State, Rando. Morehead State.
Yeah, we lost our shortstop, man. We know it's tough. It's tough to play through that.
Morehead State.
Hey, they're a good ball club. Good ball club, Morehead State.
Quality loss.
Yeah, hell of a ball club.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. We got some good games this weekend, and the nightcap. The fun part is y'all's game will be over with, so you can talk about how you beat Vandy, hopefully, and then we'll jump on the happy hour show, and I'll be able to have a cocktail or 20, depending on how the Auburn game goes, and watch us, shoot down a War Eagle or something. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well,
I will be in my feelings if we lose to Little Pearl. I'm telling you right now, if we lose that game, I will be in my feelings. Okay.
yeah.
I will.
If
I will
y'all
be
lose,
nice.
me and T might be busy. I'm not sure.
Well, the thing is,
bad.
not only am I going to be hurting inside, but after the last 48 hours of me on Twitter projecting like Pope is still a good coach and can do what he's doing, and don't forget about Cal's first years, or don't forget about the injuries that Pope is having to face. You gave Cal passes when we had injuries to like Nerlens Noel and went to the NIT. So don't also consider our starting point guard Cam Williams and our starting center being out. None of that's going to matter if we lose on Saturday. Every single one of these dudes are going to be coming virtually punching me in the mouth.
Yeah,
like,
y'all can have cheerleaders out there playing, and they're not going to care.
No, everybody's being like, yeah, Big Blue Rando, super dipshit out here on Twitter.
Oh, man. Hey, well, I'm the one taking heat about the John Stockton, Jason Williams thing. So, join the club.
I didn't disagree with that tweet though. Pure talent and ability, White Chocolate's the guy. Now,
Stockton's so overrated. He walked into a ready-made playoff team when he got drafted in '84. I'm sorry, he's overrated.
I can't buy the overrated thing, but I mean
he's overrated.
He
leads the league in steals and assists. He played 19 years. He got to 2 finals.
And he would have won both of them win for Michael Jordan.
Probably, but
yeah,
ifs and buts for candy and nuts, right? So
that's right.
I'm sorry. Statistically, and I even told the guy, statistically, yes, Stockton is the better player. But you're telling me that group, that the other 4, that's my guy I want playing with him, is Jay Will. Sorry. I didn't mean to get you. I didn't realize they were so sensitive about it. My apologies.
Hey, we all have our favorite Caucasian basketball players, man. What can we say?
I like the exciting whites. When I go buy wine, I'm in the exciting white section, and there is no more exciting white than white chocolate.
He was an exciting white. You're right.
He was.
He absolutely was.
Nothing hurt my feelings more of something that was stupid that I wouldn't even have remembered it, but it would have been a cool little thing to have in my back pocket, is the interview with Larry Bird when he was like, yeah, I really wanted to go to Kentucky and they didn't even recruit me. I'm like, y'all are killing me, man. What is going on?
Could you imagine?
One of the best whites of all time as a Kentucky Wildcat.
When you look exciting white up in the dictionary, it's literally a picture of Larry Bird.
It's that ugly ass mug, Ron.
That's why I was such a huge Bird fan, is because if a goofy looking white dude can make it in basketball, I know I got a shot in life, right? That's facts.
Yeah, buddy. That is facts. And we would have already had 9, 10, 11 maybe if he would have been
tell you, would have been banner 17 they would have been hanging this year if they had Larry Bird.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's fair. Larry,
but we didn't.
Larry took Indiana. He took Indiana State to the championship.
Indiana State, yeah. He would have won 9. He would have won 9 championships at Kentucky in 4 years. I mean, that's how good Larry Bird would have been at Kentucky.
100%.
Oh, yep, and we screwed that one up. Hey, before we get off here, I want to let's do a little. Well, first I got to take the daggone tags off. I'm not prepared, but I got some of the new sample stuff in our Heavy Pour Sport merch. The new logos, we kind of resized them. And when the first stuff dropped, a lot of it was my fault because I was learning. I didn't get them like the right images. So I'm like, dang, why is some of this stuff coming out clear? And by the time it hit the website, it was actually, good to go. But we still wanted to kind of upgrade a little bit. So I'll start off with the AllUKBall denim. Finally hit. I got on the gray shirt, but it came out super dope. This one's kind of like an oversized one, but they have that and they got the tank top too. So, when I go in hoop or get my pump on, I'll be able to, rep the brand. So that's there. And then these ones though, that y'all appreciate, the Heavy Pour Sports, bro, check out the new logo on the back. Can y'all see that? Yeah. super dope. And then it's got the neon that T's rocking right now, but in on like the pocket area. So that one came out super nice. The Border Rivals one, we got the logo a little bit bigger, so it takes up more of the shirt.
Oh yeah.
The back of the heavy pour, so we got the state, the Kentucky, the Ville, and the Tennessee one. But Gary, I was like, hey, I want a bar scene for the back, and he did like this cartoon bar scene on the back of them. And we didn't know how it was going to turn out, but it turned out like really, really well. You can see everything, and it'll be great for football season 2 because that's the image on the back. And my favorite one, y'all know I love this barrel logo, right? And
it's dope.
But I couldn't figure it out. We tried to put on a shirt. That first shirt, we tried to put a pocket tee, and it didn't look good, right? We pulled it off the website. I'm like, dude, I don't like this at all. But then we put it on a hoodie, and we added that little thing at the bottom, talk about we were established, batch 2025. Bro, this thing came out so dope. I'm so excited. I was going to wear this to the gym, and I was like, no, it's too nice. I'm not wearing it to the gym. So that was my favorite one. And last but not least, the wife told me, hey, you got nothing for women. Like, you need a pullover, something cool. So we took the one that T's got and put it on like a pullover, oversized. So even Selena has, and the ladies who rep Heavy Pour Sports have something to wear. So one, shout out Gary, because as I'm learning this process of how to design and create apparel and build logos and whatnot, he's walked me through it. And he's been super gracious with me because I'm constantly hitting him up like, hey, dog, I want to do this, but like I don't know how. So help me. So he's consistently helping me out. So Gary, I appreciate you. Bluegrass-elite.com. Go to the collaborations tab and click the Heavy Pour Sports. Use Heavy Pour 15, get 50% off, free shipping. And with all the craziness that's going on with the USPS and people having lost stuff in the mail, this thing got out to me from where he's at in Kentucky to California in 4 days. So don't have to worry about it. Free shipping, get out to you quick. Again, Heavy Pour 15. And then as always, the best hats in the game, State Line Co. Use AllUKBall 25. You get 25% off. If you spend $75 or more, you get free shipping. They're dropping Louisville stuff. They're working on Tennessee stuff. They still have the Tennessee dad hat out there. So it's not just a Kentucky brand. It's mostly a Kentucky brand, but it's not just a Kentucky brand. And I don't do the whole bird hunting, buck shooting thing. But if you do, they got some dope camo stuff out there for those guys too. They got all the tailgate, tee box, and tree stands covered. But y'all, I appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully, this weekend we get the whole team, everybody collectively can get on here and enjoy the show. Everybody, Joshy boy, Chainsaw fan, appreciate you jumping in the chat. Everybody that jumped in the chat and kind of drove the show. It always makes it easier. But yeah, we'll see you Saturday on the Happy Hour show, gents.
Appreciate y'all. Go Big Orange.
Go Vols.
Go Cats.